Okay, great. Good. Okay, welcome everyone for the Dissecting the 12 Key Traits of a New School Event Marketeer presented by Brightball. Um, let's just get started. For those of you that don't know about us, about who we are an inbound marketing agency for B2B media and events, and those are some of the people that we work with. And yeah, if anyone wants to connect with us, they can reach out at Brightball or brightball.co.uk, and we write a blog about the event industry. And that's a photo of me for those of you that don't know me. Let's just look at what we're going to cover today. We're going to explore the new way of event marketing. We're going to look at the step-by-step through the 12 traits that make a new school event marketeer. We're going to reveal the signs that you might still be stuck in the old marketing tactics and understanding where marketers should be focusing their budget and efforts. And then we'll also what I aim here is that with this you have the backbones of a successful modern day event marketing strategy. And then through the sessions, I'm going to ask a couple of poll questions. And again, I encourage you to ask us many questions towards the end. Okay, let's just get cracking. And I wanted to set the scene for most of you. Does it feel like your marketing team is on a hamster wheel? I think I was in that situation a little while ago, and it is a sentiment that some event marketing teams feel this way too, submerged in the execution wheel. And the idea that I want to propose here today is that give you some tips and tools as to how you can escape this wheel of sameness. So let's get cracking. The first trait of a new school event marketer is inbound is at the heart of their strategy. So if there's any new marketeer that is out there that it's still doing everything around, still based on outbound, they need to kind of change what they're doing. You need to look at all these particular activities, and inbound is now what's driving forward any event strategy. And the reason why inbound is at the heart of this, I wanted to share with you some research from the Eventbrite about what were the channels that they thought were most effective and successful. So email, 31%, that's no real surprise. But then you look at free social media and referrals. The reality is, what drives the free social media? What drives referrals? What drives word of mouth? The thing that drives social media and word of mouth is content. The thing that drives content is inbound. Everyone just at this point in time is shutting down every channel medium possible that they can that they have at their fingertips to block messages that are unsolicited, and reaching out to communities, to the places where they normally hang out, with the places where they find out the information that they want. And you want to be that place of information. I want to share with you the inbound for events model, and this is just the tool that we've seen across the industry, where you look at where you have a conference or vertical content, whether there's going to be a conference website or whether there's going to be a blog or a community site. You create a variety of interviews and premium content that you're going to go and then share through social media. The key thing at this piece of the top of the funnel is that it is about the user, the reader, and the individual. It's not about your product or your event. Now, at the point when and because you're using this content to attract those individuals, but at the point when these individuals then engage with you and come to your website, then is your role to make sure that they engage with you further and then download, fill in a form so that they can become a lead. And then it is at this point when you then start talking about your event, your products and services, right? And ultimately, the name of the game, the objective that you're trying to achieve is you want them to register to attend your event, or do you want them to sponsor or exhibit at your event? Now, the reality is that old school event businesses assume that their contacts are ready to buy from them. So if you look at this specific chart here, most of the event organizations with databases of 5,000, 20,000, 100,000 in some cases assume they're ready and desperate to come and attend the event. That's not necessarily true. Okay, let's look at the second trait of the new school event marketer. They don't compartmentalize between online and offline. So it's not about one or the other. It's not about inbound or outbound. It's not about it's just marketing or sales. It's not about us and them. This is just a whole integrated aspect as to where you will need to then start selecting what is the right channel, what is the right tool that I need to use to reach my target market, my individuals at the right time and at the right place. Yeah, and I think this is kind of a very, very, very important aspect. Trait number 3, content is the fuel for your engagement fire. That's kind of absolutely everyone now knows this, and it would be silly for me to say that like there's kind of a lot of people not necessarily looking at content. A lot of event marketers right now are looking at content in one way, shape, or form. And now this is a statistic that I want to share with you, which is content generates 3 times as many leads as traditional outbound marketing. Surprisingly enough, costs 62% less. So when your boss is telling you that they might need to spend less amount on marketing, then probably you might want to share some statistic like this, or I'm happy if you share this one. And there's another aspect too. Most event marketeers struggle to create content, but in my opinion, event businesses are very rich in content. It's just that they don't know, or they haven't found a way to repurpose it properly. And this is the other aspect where I think it's key, and this particular aspect defines a new school event marketing. You need to be prepared and comfortable with writing that content yourself. And realistically, that is the only way. Because at this point in time, a lot of marketeers out there are still waiting for their producers to write content, waiting for speakers to write their content. The reality is that they have other priorities. The reality is that you are not top of their agenda. And that's going to, and if you are not prepared to write this content yourself, who will? And that's kind of why if you're planning on creating blogs or premium content, it's going to take time. So if you have the skills of repurposing the content that already exists, or repurposing the content that you're generating at your live events, and be able to write the relevant content or blogs or whatever that might be to reach your audience, then you have a big head start. And I think I just want to take this opportunity now to get a poll from the audience. How good is your content marketing? 1 is poor, 5 is very good. So we're going to wait for 15 seconds till we have people voting. Okay, 79% of the audience voted. Anyone else? Okay, 93%. Okay, so we're gonna close the poll in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's see what we have. Okay. 38% feel that the content is number 2, not that great, and number 3 is just right in the middle. That's interesting. Only 8% of you guys think it's on the right track. Wow. Well, Potentially, what I'm saying is it's not surprising, and I would anticipate to say that one of the biggest reasons why marketers struggles to get a grip on content marketing is because they're not controlling, directing, and instigating what content should be driven, and they're relying on third parties to write that content. Thank you very much. Let's continue. Okay. Trait number 4. Buyer personas are the root of all communications and content. So I ask the audience, or I kind of probably ask you to think about, are you able to guess or understand who is the person that owns that desk that we're sharing on screen? Who is he or who is she? Obviously, who is she, because he's got a bow tie there. Are we able to know how we can kind of reach that individual? What would be the best ways to communicate with this person? Then I think that's the key critical part. A new school event marketeer understands the target audience very, very well. And they understand and they know the objectives that their buyer personas are really looking to achieve, their pains, their challenges, their interests, but more importantly, how they're going to reach that individual, when, at what stage, and what would be the best way to do it. Once you've tackled your buyer personas, once you understand these key traits, it's very easy for you to then go and derive content. I'm sharing here what Bright Bull's personas are. We have 4 personas that we need to cater for from our community, and I aim to speak their language, not mine. So I always try to resonate. Everything that I write needs to resonate with one of these 4 individuals. And to me, the happiest moment is when someone says to me, Ricardo, you hit the nail on the head. I read your blog and it resonated heavily with me. To me, that means I'm doing my job well with my buyer personas and kind of triggering their pain points. If you as a marketeer are able to instill and touch or hit a nerve in your audience, and you're able to tell them how you're going to be able to help them solve their problems, or how your event is going to be able to solve their problems, you're on to a winner. And I wanted to share with you guys, there's a company in the UK here called Ladbrokes, which is a betting company, and they use buyer personas to promote on their TV commercials and everything. And I thought that they get it really well. So I'll invite you all to search for these guys whenever you have a chance on Ladbrokes. And if you want to have some resources on how to create your own personas, then just there's these 2 websites, makemypersona.com and buyerpersona.com. Those are the best websites that you can kind of find out more information about it. And in fact, it can help you create your own with some specific templates. And if you want, I can send you some of our own templates that will help you achieve that. So let us know through the chat pane if you do want that. Happy to help. Okay. Trait number 5. They thrive on the power of marketing automation and technology. And this is kind of one of the key parts in which new marketers need to get a handle on. There's so much things out there, and I'll share with you just later on. There's so much out there, and you really need to be able to know what is out there that is going to help you do your job better. And I'm talking about systems, I'm talking about automation, I'm talking about finding which or what are the things that you and your team hate that is kind of eating a lot of your time. So most of the times is, are you able to identify what are you going to be able to outsource? If many of you guys know or remember the old days of diary listings, there's this company called Event that you just literally pay them some money and they just submit your event to hundreds of websites and to list your event. If you spend a lot of time updating your website, can someone else do it quicker? Can someone else do it cheaper? Yes, that means potentially hiring an intern, or potentially even hiring that process somewhere else. And building the business case for it. And also, I think marketeers that I speak a day in, day out, they struggle with reporting and they spend a lot of time creating reports for the senior management team. Sometimes the senior management team asks, okay, a question about that report. They need to spend another 2 hours trying to find the answers to, and because obviously that's all linked with data processing. So whilst it is about systems automation, email automation, and all that sort of stuff, it's also about taking a step back and thinking, okay, where am I spending the most amount of time and in my view, wasting the most amount of time, because your time as a marketing can be used more profitably elsewhere. This is what I call the marketing, or this is the marketing technology landscape that existed in 2011. These were the number of companies that marketeers, or tools that marketeers could use to make their job better. Move on 5 years down the line, this is the way the marketing technology landscape now looks in 2016. A lot. There's plenty of things that you need to do, that you can need to keep an eye on it. And to be honest, I am not pretending that you are aware of absolutely everything that is on this particular infographic, which, by the way, you must download it. The link is there. But it just outlines the fact that you have a lot of tools at your fingertips that are going to help you do your job better. Some of them are free, some of them are paid, but again, is an aspect that you really need to keep an eye on and see how you... The reality is you need to be aware what those tools are. You can search for marketing technology landscape on Google to get a copy of that. Okay, trait number 6. New school event marketeers, they're smart about email, and they do not solely rely on outbound. Can you relate to that photo there? Is that how your company is perceived by your buyer personas? As a Rambo doing all this, firing out emails and firing out sales messages day in, day out, all the time? Probably you are. But the new school event marketeers, they won't do without workflows or drip campaigns, as they call it, depending on the system that you're using. Because if you are expected to work with your buyer personas, you're going to need to create more emails than normal, because you're going to have to segment, you're going to have to personalize. And obviously, if you're going to do that yourself or within your team, it's not going to happen. So you need to consider how you can use workflows and drip campaigns with whatever system you're using to the best of your abilities. And one thing that I want to share is relevant emails. They drive 18 times more revenue than broadcast emails. And I think there's something important for you to highlight in there. I think I want to ask another poll at this point in time and ask the audience, do you use a marketing automation platform? See, 41% voted. 56, 60. Okay, let's just kind of get some more votes in, please, if you can. By the way, all this information is confidential in the way we're not going to name and shame with this exercise. Okay, closing the poll in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Close the poll. Wow, half and half. Interesting. So good for those of you that are doing it. The ones of you that are not doing it, you really need to start at least investigating how you're going to approach that. Because if you're not doing any marketing automation platform, I can only assume that you're either not segmenting, you're just kind of still doing being the Rambos out there, or your team is extremely busy and in the execution wheel. So if I am mistaken, please hold me accountable for it. But yeah, that's kind of what we can normally see. And I'm happy to share some info as well for those of you that are not using it on what's out there for you. Okay, let's have the results. Let's continue. New school event marketeers, they love data and they measure absolutely everything. And I just put a bracket there at the touch of a button. Because again, you don't really want to spend a lot of time of your working days collecting data from many different sources, etc., etc. And I'm going to share with you guys later on why that is and how that can be fixed. But yeah, ultimately, any marketeer needs to be able to understand how many visits they're generating on their website, how many contacts or leads they're generating, and how many of those convert to sales. I was there in that situation many years ago when I worked for a global conference company, and it just took ages. And to this day, I think sometimes marketing teams struggle to get information like this at the touch of a button. So I think it's quite an important piece, and there are data integration tools out there that might be able to help you with that. But yes, the reality is you need to measure absolutely everything that you do. And again, are you able to know what your conversion rates are for organic, from social media, from paid search, etc., etc.? If you're not, then it's very likely that you're going to be spending money using channels that aren't necessarily that productive and that profitable. So yeah, it's very important to have that tool, and I think that's kind of one of the biggest part of the problems. If you don't have the data to support your decisions, your strategy, then you just be doing, or you are likely to be doing whatever everyone else is doing. Now, trait number 8. They manage their time. A new school event marketers manage their time, and I think this is one of those situations where you're not alone in that in this aspect. Everyone struggles to manage their time. Any level from any organization, they still struggling with time and being efficient with things that like they need to do in due course. Especially marketeers, the lists of event marketeers are long. So unfortunately, I don't have a specific solution for that, but I think being aware of how you're going to be able to manage your time efficiently, looking at what works, what doesn't, and seeing where you can gain some efficiencies is down to you as an individual. But if you feel that you're telling friends, colleagues, and everyone, oh, I don't have enough time, or I haven't got round to do this that I've been expecting to do, then that might mean that you might have an issue with time. Because if you're always struggling with time, then you have a time management problem. What I think is I can share with you the Covey time management matrix was very, very good for me, and I use that still to this day when I'm coaching an individual, and that is from the 7. I can't remember at this point in time, but like, yeah, the most efficient people that Stephen Covey wrote that book, which is quite good. So check for that. The Pomodoro technique is another technique used to manage time and to just basically splitting your tasks in small chunks. So check that out. Some people have found that very useful. I personally didn't find that useful for me. But yeah, it works in some aspects and in some specific areas of your job. A lot of people out there are talking about Slack. If you don't know about Slack, slack.com is like a collaboration tool. And it's particularly useful for those marketeers that are submerged and they're like just having all this kind of death by email. Everything is done by email and they can't do anything because they keep on checking their emails. So some individuals, some marketers have just completely shut down email for most of the day, and they speak with their internal teams through Slack, which I think is useful, and especially if you have remote teams, or if you're using freelance, or if you're using kind of marketing teams all over the world. One other person that I wanted to share with you guys is Tim Ferriss, and if you look at Tim Ferriss' email, he has some templates that you could and some templates that you can use, some autoresponders when people kind of ask a lot from you via email or like to have email conversations. And in general, if you want to find life hacks to become more efficient in your day-to-day, check the 4-Hour Work Week blog. That's absolutely fantastic and very, very useful. And if that's not enough, we have a guide that we are very happy to share with all of you out there, and then Sonia is happy to put it on the chat panel for you guys, and so you can kind of have a link. But yeah, if you go to info.brightbull.co.uk/time saving, so you can download that guide. Good. Oh, this one's the best one. Trait number 9. They know how to seamlessly integrate with sales. How many of you guys have a integration like this with sales, like the one in the photo? I'll be curious to know. 83% of marketeers have cited increasing sales as the top event marketing goal. So more and more, as technology advancements, as more and more organizations develop and move into this new way of doing things, marketeers are going to be responsible and more accountable for driving sales as means to demonstrate how much money they're bringing to the bottom line. So the better you are at this, the better or the more respect you're going to gain from your team. This is now where the measuring everything and using data and dashboards to report to your marketing team or to anyone within the business on how marketing results are doing. That's great. And I think one of the aspects that I wanted to highlight, marketing teams are not necessarily great at flying the flag of marketing. And yes, I'm generalizing, but yes, that's what I've seen from most of the companies that I've worked with. We all sit down and just kind of do our job quietly and huff and puff when things get busy. But when things get really, really good and we get kind of really good results, we don't necessarily fly our flag good enough or well enough. So does your sales team kind of tell you your leads are rubbish, and is your relationship with the sales team like the one on the photo? Very likely. Today we released a blog on about.
Oops, I think we may have lost some connection there, Ricardo.
Sorry.
I don't know if it affected everybody, but I think we lost a bit of
connection. Okay. Just is everyone able to hear me well at this point in time? Can you raise your hand can you digitally raise your hand? Let's see. Yeah. Okay. Some people are saying that they can hear me. Okay. Let's just trust that you are. Sonia, where was the last thing that you've heard from me?
I think what you were about to explain about these two guys that are wrestling, and the leads are rubbish, so maybe backtrack to that point.
Okay, so what I was saying is that how many of you guys have a relationship with your sales team that looks like the one in the photo? And what you get from the response that you get from those guys is that your leads are rubbish, or your leads are not great, or I'm spending a lot of time trying to find out the leads. And I think the reason for this is that there isn't a definition internally between the two departments on what a lead is, what an MQL is, and what an SQL. And then you need to agree on what are the leads that are good for them. So let's just I want to clarify in this part. If you as a marketeer, or if you as an organization start doing content marketing to engage with people out there to drive leads, yes, you're going to generate more leads than normal. The reality is that between 30 and 40% of the leads that you generate, or let me just kind of say it better, between 60 and 70% of the leads that you generate are not going to be relevant. So what you have is between 30 and 40% of that are marketing qualified leads. What are marketing qualified leads? Are leads that meet your buyer persona profile. So the fact that you have some MQLs or marketing qualified leads does not necessarily mean even that they're ready to be sent to sales. And sales qualified leads are just simply leads that are ready for your sales teams to have a communication with them. So the best thing that you need to do, that I can't define what an SQL is for you. You as a marketeer need to have a mutual agreement. So have a conversation and sit down, take your sales guy for beers or your sales director for beers and actually get the clarification. What are the traits, or what are the things that someone or an individual on our database or on our website, what's the behavior that they need to exert before you pick up the phone and give them a call and have a conversation. So most of the times you need to combine that with either do they meet the profile of the right company, but that again, engagement with some pieces of content on your website. That means attending a specific networking drink, so attending a webinar, etc., etc. I don't know what that is, but you need to define that. So the holy grail really between where you want to be able to have a relationship like the initial picture is the SQL. So businesses that use the marketing automation to nurture prospects experience a 451% increase in qualified leads, right? What I mean by this is they take the MQLs into a nurturing program and put them on to exert some certain behavior, to instigate certain behavior until they're ready to buy. So if I want to go back really, really quickly into the marketing funnel, these leads that you generate here are going to be all leads. Some are going to be MQLs, and the MQLs are going to go onto a nurturing program, right, until they are either ready to buy and they buy directly from your website, or until they are ready to be passed on to sales. Yeah, and I just really it was important for me to clarify that, and I'm not going to bore you with those details until I jump. So I'm just going to jump straight on to that part. Yeah. So the holy grail is the SQL. So ensure you have that internal and mutual agreement with your sales guy, and then that's your way to keep them very happy and your sales and marketing nirvana. Okay, trait number 10, the masters of social media. I'm sure that's no surprise. Social media has a 100% higher lead to close rate than outbound marketing. So let me just repeat that because I think that's very, very important. They have a 100% higher conversion rate from lead to close than outbound marketing. And what does being masters of social media mean? That means that they embed social media in everything they do. That means that social is a habit that they just kind of do it naturally. They do have a thought out system on how they're going to.
A bit of a internet issue, Ricardo. Sorry, kind of went in and out of connection there.
Really sorry.
Yeah, just tracking back to embedded in everything you do. Yeah, we just lost you at that point.
Okay. I hope you can hear me now. So they have embedded in everything they do. The other aspect, social is a habit. And they're used to doing absolutely everything, and social is a part of it. So they wouldn't find it a struggle to find the time to do it. It is they use, or you can use a thought out system as to how you can engage on social media. I normally suggest you use the 70-20-10. So 70% of what you do and share on social media is adding value, sharing your own content, building conversations, having conversations on LinkedIn groups. And if you're not building conversations on LinkedIn group, you're answering questions or you're participating in discussions are out there. 20% is about sharing what someone else is doing that is relevant to your audience, and 10% is about your event. What most old school event marketers do is that they just simply use social media, Twitter and LinkedIn, to talk about their event. The reality is that they run out of things very, very quickly. And again, reiterating that aspect on the interaction, they interact on social media, they interact on LinkedIn, and they have the guts to answer questions in specific forums or in specific aspects, or put comments on blogs, and they're not scared of topics. Because there's some marketeers that they feel that they don't have enough knowledge about the topic of the events that they're marketing, so they don't feel the authority to comment socially about it. My view is you just do it. Your producer and anyone else outside the organization is not going to do it. It's not their priority unless they are masters of social media themselves and they are social media natives. More importantly, they don't broadcast. Okay, this is kind of one where there's a lot of debate, but I think new school event marketeers, they get their hands dirty. And the reality is that they get their hands dirty on things that are not necessarily their remit. Because marketing is becoming less about marketing. Marketing is becoming less about campaigns. Marketing is becoming less about, buying media. Marketing is becoming less about all these things. Marketing is becoming more about things that are not necessarily related. It's data analysis. So from what I've seen, there's 4 key areas where organizations and event companies are, I could possibly say, struggling. So the first, and again, these are key areas that are being roadblocks for marketeers out there. One of them, and the most important, is CRM and data. In some cases, there isn't anyone that owns CRM, their CRM tool, or no one that is able to understand how that data is communicating with their email systems and everything. So new school individuals have just roll up their sleeves, get their hands dirty, and learn about CRM and learn about how they do these data integrations with your email system and your CRM. It's a pain, and let's be honest, it's boring. But if you want to go ahead and get ahead on your, on like, for instance, getting all these reporting done at a touch of a button and everything, you're going to have to get your hands dirty. And the reality is, and I put here as the 4th one, internal training, because the reality is, if you got your hands dirty, understood and hook your CRM and email system, you're going to have to go and train your sales team on how they can use their CRM. Because if the sales team are using the CRM properly, you, the marketing person, are going to benefit from it greatly. And if the sales team are using the CRM in the way that you want, they're going to get the results they want out of the CRM. They're going to basically put the more information that you need in it. And that's a way for you to gain more, I guess, respect from the team as well, because they see that you care. But yeah, CRM and data, that's one of the areas that I think is important. Integrations and automation. Some of the companies that are not using a one kind of universal automation system, they have email, they have Twitter, they have their CRM, they have legacy systems, they have apps, they have a combination of so many tools, and the moment they need to integrate that into one single place is a pain. So there's this company called Zapier, and they build a lot of automated integrations with systems. And then this company called IFTTT, which translates if this, then that. Probably that sounds like a mouthful, but yes, it's a little bit complicated. And what these companies do is they focus about integrations and automation. So again, going back to the aspects of knowing your technology, in some cases you will need, because Zapier, for instance, they have some live integrations, but they also allow you to create your own integration and your own API to make your life easier. So yes, it's not a pain, but I tell you, if you crack it, then your company is saving on consultancy fees, because consultants that know how to do this charge a lot of money, and sometimes that's done very easily. So yeah, why don't you learn a little bit more about this and save a little bit of that consulting money for you to get a pay rise? That's my view. And I mentioned writing and blogging because I think many marketers in event businesses still do not write. They do not blog. They have this limitation, thinking that speakers and producers and event directors are the ones that control and that are able to create that content. My view is not really. There's ways in which you could become a thought leader by just simply knowing who the thought leaders are, by linking with them directly. And there's ways in which you can write blogs that don't necessarily have to be 100% written by you. So, lists, compilations, there's a whole lot of variety. So, and again, I'm happy to share that with you. And again, internal training, because the reality is, if no one really is going to step up, the reality is, over the last 15 years that I've been kind of working with event organizations, no one really steps up to do the jobs and to do the things that are not seemed important. And that is kind of a big pain, because everyone is too busy, and it's understandable. But the only way in which new school event marketers are going to drive change is if they lead, they don't necessarily follow. And sometimes, when you learn something new, whether in these areas or any other area, that's you're going to have to share it with your team. We're right on time, so I'm going to speed up so that we can open the floor for questions. The last part is that new school event marketers lead the events team. They do not follow. They own the strategy. They are individuals that, if they own the data, if they own the numbers, if they own the new technologies, if they drive all these cool new initiatives and everything like that, then they will lead. And then they will be able to then exert change within the internal organization. So, and I think that's kind of the important part. And that's why I wanted to leave you with the 12th item here, which is you need to lead. You cannot follow what other people are doing, because the likelihood is the events industry, the majority of the people within the events industry have been in it for a long time. Most of the senior people in the events industry have been working for it for a long time. So it's likely that there's some old traits and bad habits within the organization. So you as a marketeer need to lead this. If you keep on expecting to be told what needs to get done, what needs to be done and when, then that's a situation. From my point of view, you need to be telling your management team, I've spotted this and this is what we're going to do about it. I've been analyzing some data, we're behind, and this is what we're going to do about it. Or this is the way I suggest the whole team gets together and work about it, not the other way around. One of the things that I found most painful and most upsetting is that in some cases, after a big event, you have your boss telling you, next year we need to grow our event, we need more attendees, we need more sponsorship, we need to generate more money. Does this resonate with someone? Or does this resonate with the people in the audience? I know from some of the attendees that it does. But then they come and say, well, sorry, marketing spend will have to remain the same. In fact, try to keep the spend down. Or in fact, what they're trying to tell you is, you know what, I want you to work extra harder, without realizing that you will have been breaking your kahunas for a long time, trying to make sure things work. I used to have this particular statement stuck on my desk. And my answer to a boss or to a leader that is telling me these sort of things, and I'm saying, you're insane, you're crazy. How can we expect to grow if we're not expected to devote more resources in terms of money, an extra help, an extra pair of hands into the equation? So yes, you cannot expect to get different results if we're going to be doing the same old thing again. And I think that's kind of that to be one of the important aspects that I wanted to kind of to share with you. And I wanted to wrap up with some questions, before we kind of go into the questions with another poll. What are your obstacles in modernizing your marketing currently, if you're struggling to have that? Do you see any obstacles in modernizing your marketing from those options? %50 voted. Come on, guys. 63%. Okay. I'm going to leave it open for another 5 seconds. Please, if you haven't voted, can you please vote? Okay, I'm going to close it in 4, 3, 2, 1. Half of you struggle with budget, technology, knowledge, and data. Wow. Plenty of obstacles. I see. Wow. Okay. If anyone has some specific questions, please feel free to ask them. And then the last question is, what type of event marketer are you? Okay, I'm going to leave it for another 5 seconds. 60% voted. Great. I'm going to close in 3, 2, 1. Great. We've got a lot of new school modern marketeers. Amazing. All those that think that are old school traditional, please ask any questions. If you want to, they're going to be confidential. Great. Okay, guys, thank you very much. Let's open the floor for some questions. Whilst the questions are being asked, and Sonia kind of is sparking them and shares them with me, I wanted to share with you 2 things. What's going next, or what's happening next with Brightpool? We have the Accelerator Labs. I'm sure some of you would have heard of them. And they are workshops that we're running in London for new school marketeers on specific areas within event marketing. So if you haven't got your guide, please download one now. And all attendees on this webinar will receive a 20% discount if you choose to sign up for them. And again, sorry for all those that are not in London. We are going to be running a Think and Drink session on Wednesday, the 1st of June. And what these sessions are, just informal get-togethers from event marketeers, passionate nerds. I'm one of them, to talk about anything related to marketing and event marketing, and share drinks, have a few drinks. And the first round is on me. So if you want to know where we're going to host it, please send us a chat message and everything, and we will be able to tackle those. Okay, Sonia, do we have questions?
Yeah, we've had one nice question come through actually, and that is, what would you say is the first thing? What's the first thing you would tackle if you were just starting out with inbound? Stroke quickest win.
Good question. Okay, if you were going to do the first thing that you should do, I would say, or what I would say is, pick the low-hanging fruit. Try to find what's going to be your quickest win, right? So find out where is going to be easiest. Where do you have what is going to be the easiest way to go about it? And the flip side is, do not pick the biggest problem you have. Try not to solve the biggest problem you have, because trying to solve these problems take ages. and that's kind of an issue. If you can't find a quickest win, focus on defining an SQL with your sales guys. If you focus on an SQL with your sales guys and focus your marketing to deliver what they really want. So in theory, they pick up the phone, even if you pass 2 or 3 leads, but if they pick up the phone and they say, hey, Mr. Marketeer, I love those deals and those leads that you passed on that were spot on, and I'm having some conversation. If you have your sales guy patting you on the back or buying beers for you, you're on the right track. And another one is focus on sponsorship or on exhibitors. If you have a way in which you as a marketing person in an events business is able to create ways in which your sponsorship guys or your sales guys from exhibition stands are able to close more exhibitions and more sales, then that will get quicker to the senior management's ears. So yeah, focus on sponsorship, because that is, in my opinion, the quickest win and the biggest win that marketers can have now.
Any more questions? That's all we have so far. So I'm assuming everyone got what they needed answering. But if there's any more questions, send them through. Otherwise, we're going to wrap up.
Okay, I think Simon Curtis said, what is the company name which lists events again as outsourced? The person that
yeah, that was your event. Yep.
Sorry.
I think Simon was referring to events when you were referring to events.
List of events?
Yeah. The listing, the event listing website.
Okay, sorry.
EVVNT.
event. Okay, yeah, and I've got this other question there. How many blogs or content should you write on a monthly basis to generate that engagement? Well, I normally, my advice would be at least 2 blogs a month. Ideally, 4 blogs a month, meaning once a week, is what you should be doing in order to start getting that content engine going. Anything less than that, that's crazy, and it's not going to be as easy to implement. So yeah, just focus on 2. Okay, 4, it's the ideal. Anything else, Sonia?
Sorry, we've had some last minute questions come through. How do you begin to put together a marketing plan for events? That's quite a big question.
Oh dear.
There's a couple of others here. I'll come back to you on the Think and Drink session. There's someone asking about that. And what is the frequency one should send an invite to an event via outbound to prospective audiences? Okay,
so sorry. So I think the person that asked, how do you begin to put together a marketing plan for events? It's a massive question. I wouldn't in 2 minutes I wouldn't be able to answer that, but I'm happy to relate back to it offline, if that's okay. What was the second one?
It's about the frequency of sending an invite to for an event via outbound.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the problem. So frequency to an event an event via outbound. Okay, prospective audience. So I'm assuming is someone that, yeah, your traditional way, your old school way. I will be shooting myself if I answer that question in a way, because in a way, first of all, I don't condone that. But what I've heard from most of event organizers, they send between 10 to 12 emails to their audience in one cycle. Is that great? Absolutely not. What would be the ideal? My view is that this is the issue. If your audience is a marketing qualified lead, so they fit your buyer persona profile and they are interested in hearing about you, I like to think that with 5 touch points, you should be in a good position to learn if A, they're coming, and if they're not, they won't. The reality is if after 5 emails you've sent someone, they are actually not engaged with that email or not connected with you or not uh, have not exerted any behavior or expressing interest in what you have to say, then there's no point. So no wonder why old school event organizers have to send 12 emails, because they just basically screaming out loud. They're the Rambos, so they're screaming out loud. And the only solution that these sort of organizations do to declining email response rates is send more email. So yeah, I hope that that question's been answered.
We've got a minute or so. I think there was one that we missed. I don't think we answered this. What are some of the effective strategies to engage in your past attendees if you're not currently working on an event for probably another 6 to 12 months? So, yeah, past event engagement, past attendee engagement.
Well, the reality is that, and linking back to content, if you are creating value add content, if you are sharing with those individuals whatever is hot for them, whatever is helpful with the pain points, challenges, or issues, then you're going to have, let's say if you're writing 2 blogs or 2 pieces of content a month, then you have a way to connect with those guys on a monthly basis. You can send them a newsletter, you can send them a hello every month or every 2 months. But yeah, if you're in a position where you are writing 2 to 4 blogs a month, then that's more of a reason for you to send them a newsletter about what you have. Again, important to highlight that newsletter and those news that you share are not about your event. They're about the pains, problems, and issues, because that's what we call top of the funnel. And the moment you start having information about your next event, past delegates, then you can share that, because then you can nurture them into getting them to attend again. Okay, I think we have 1 minute left. Let's just call it a day there. Anyone that I just wanted to open up, anyone that wants to understand anything that they're doing right, wrong, or if you want me to have a look at their approach, I'm more than happy to spend some time looking at what you're doing and providing some suggestions. So let's just please connect. I'm sure you'll hear from me again. Other than that, thank you very much, everyone, for attending. And until we see you, till next time, take care.